And welcome back to Life Unrehearsed. Matt Del Vecchio here. I want to give a shout out to Summit School. They are organizing, and some of you who, if you don't know Summit School, it's an amazing school that are helping children and young adults with special needs. And they're holding their annual Summit Bazaar this coming Saturday, December 2nd. The Summit Marketplace is focused on uniquely showcasing the works of young, developmentally diverse artisans and artists and entrepreneurs. Basically, the students are making a whole bunch of items and baked goods and leather items, and they sell them as a fundraiser for the school. And so you can meet them at and all their handmade collections. So it's at the Summit School Gymnasium this Saturday, December 2nd from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. It's located at 1750 Rue de Guire in Ville-Saint-Laurent. Okay, so 1750 Rue de Guire, or you could just look up Summit School, do a search for them, and they've got it all over there. So I wanted to give them a shout out. Such amazing kids and young adults, and you'll be supporting a good cause. All right. Now, many of our listeners may be aware of the late Teresa Dellar, the co-founder of the West Island Palliative Care Residence, which is now named in her honor. Teresa's legacy lives on through her husband, Gavin Fernandes, and her two sons, Jonathan and Nicholas. Teresa started the annual sock and underwear drive, which is well underway right now, and I have Gavin Fernandes with me in studio to tell us more. Gavin, welcome to Life Unrehearsed.
Thanks so much for having me. Good to see you again.
Nice seeing you, Gavin. Thanks for coming into studio here. So first of all, for our listeners that might not know about Teresa Dellar, tell us a little bit about Teresa.
Well, she was a social worker by trade, but I can honestly say it was a big part of her DNA. To the point where it would affect how and where we could go for holidays. Like if there were too many homeless in certain cities, she would have a bad holiday because she'd be more worried about the homeless than she would be worried than she would about the holiday. It was just really part of her being. And so she used to do a lot of stuff for all sorts of parts of the community, and obviously best known for starting with Russ Williams, the palliative care in the West Island, which is still, I believe it's still the largest freestanding or independent palliative care in the country.
Really a pioneer, far beyond her time. And as you know, we've had her as a guest several years ago, and probably one of my most memorable interviews with your wife, Teresa.
Well, I remember coming to pick her up, and I'm sitting in the chair she was sitting in with Corey sitting right next to her, sort of, and it was there's special memories there for sure, and thank you for that back in the day. So.
Special memories for a special person, Gavin. So, you recently started the Teresa Dellar Community Foundation. So what's the goal of the foundation? And first of all, good for you. It's just off to a great start from what I'm hearing. And tell us about it.
Yeah. So Teresa, on top of the palliative care, she, believe it or not, she, in her spare time, and I'm going to put that in air quotes, like in her spare time, she would find other causes that she had to help. And a lot of it was like, it could be homeless, it could be food banks, it could be she had organized a bunch of people to work with the refugees when the Haitian earthquake had happened. So she was just always constantly on the go for one cause or another. And that's aside from the kids' schools and all the regular sort of volunteering that you do. Our foundation, we started it, and we're probably going to brand as TDCF or TDC Foundation just to avoid confusion with the palliative care, and we don't want to ever take away from them in any way, because that was her primary dream. But this will be mostly we still do a sock drive every year that she started from her hospital bed. She did two things from her hospital bed when she was sick with the cancer. One was to start this sock drive because she had heard of a need to come to that the Oldbury mission was short on socks and underwear, and it got so big within 3 weeks of her doing it that we had to borrow and rent trucks to get the stuff down. There was over 3,000 pairs of socks and underwear, and so we've continued that, and it's just grown every year to help the needy, not just in the West Island but all over the city where we can. We give to Alakai Bano. We've given to in the past. We've given to Oldbury Mission for years, and so we keep that going. And we're going to hopefully have an awards program that we launched in September, which will be to recognize people who work in nonprofit. So that'll be sort of a thanks back to the community again. So we do a bunch of stuff. We deal with scholarships out of that foundation too at McGill and at University of Montreal.
Just amazing, listening to Life Unrehearsed, Matt Delvecchio here, and I'm talking with Gavin Fernandes about the Teresa Dellar Community Foundation and their annual Teresa's Sock and Underwear Drive. Now, Gavin, let's talk about the drive itself. How's it going so far? How's this year's edition going? How much has been raised?
It's going very, very well. We've got about $5,000 in cash. We have a couple of corporate and foundation donations. So Hillcan Foundation out of the blue came out and helped us out with Judy Martin, and then we had Task Microsystems come on board and they helped us out, and so we're very, very helpful with that. Lamour Fashion gave us 60 boxes of clothing, absolutely unheard of. FedEx Ground Support heard about us last year. Last year they gave us 4 or 5 boxes of stuff. This year they came through with 1,300 pairs of socks. Oh, so absolutely amazing people coming forward. And what that's going to allow us to do, as I was telling you off air, is that in that getting more actual donations of material, we're going to be able to give more cash to the food banks, and the food banks are really hurting this year. Well,
that's really interesting. You're going to be able to focus on giving a lot of clothes, which gives more money to the food banks, 1 in 10 in Quebec, and increasing. So just such a good cause. So it's in the latter stages of the drive, so if our listeners want to donate, what do they have to do?
So you can go to tdcf.ca, which is our website. You can go on our Facebook page, which is TDC Foundation, and there is a link to the sock drive donation directly on there if you're on Facebook. If you have through tdcf.ca, if you have actual sock donations, like large quantities, you can contact us through there. And if you can't help us out, please help out whoever you can, anywhere you can help. It's the season of giving. It's not just for friends and family for their third coffee mug. It means a lot, and like you said, a lot of Canadians in need of it this year.
100%. And talk about the season of giving. What better day than this Tuesday, which is Giving Tuesday.
Giving Tuesday, yeah.
That's right. So perfect cause, and like you say, and Gavin, so grateful, even if it's not for his cause, just give, and we can help a whole lot of people here in Montreal and right around the country. Thank you very much, Gavin, for coming in here.
Thank you so much for having me on the air, and bless you for all you do, Matt.
Oh, thank you, Gavin. That's Gavin Fernandes talking to us about the Teresa Dellar Community Foundation and their annual Teresa's Sock and Underwear Drive. All right, next up on Life Unrehearsed, older adults and romance on the rise. I'm going to have Dr. Lori Petito in studio with me, and you're not going to want to miss out on what Dr. Lori has to say. That's coming up after the next CTV News Update.